I would say it's less about format and more about flexibility because the canvas of YouTube is ever changing and you can have reactions to something that somebody else did and there's no flags or anything on their channel, but then you react to either that show or that movie or that YouTube content and you might get a copyright. I would say being able to be flexible.
Hello and welcome to this week's conversation on the Creators Hub podcast. I'm joined today by Christene from the AyChristene YouTube channel, and I did say it properly, so I'm proud of
You
myself.
did.
She
Yes.
also has a couple other YouTube channels as well, but her main channel, it's AyChristene, has almost, as of recording, 700,000 subscribers, 5.3 thousand videos uploaded. Christene is a busy person, but a little bit more about her. She is a content creator, creator educator, speaker, and creator business advocate. She helps creators grow with confidence, understand their value, and build sustainable businesses through content, negotiation, and personal branding. She's also the creator of Empower Your Worth, the ultimate pricing guide for creators, and we will definitely get to that later on in the conversation. Christene, how are you today?
Good. Thank you for having me. I'm really excited.
I'm looking forward to it. So before we get into kind of what you do for creators, I got to just talk about the YouTube channel. You have had huge success. So on the main channel, AyChristene obviously has done very well for you. Can you talk about the origin story of that channel? How did it come to be however many years ago when you started it, that channel?
Yeah, so the branch actually started, it did start with the gaming channel originally in 2015. We started the channel, me and my husband, he does a lot of the back end, like editing and graphics and stuff for the channel. But originally, it was around the time that there was a game, a playable trailer that came out, and it was like this scary game. And he was trying to find a trailer for the game so he could kind of find out how it was. And that's when we came across gaming creators. And that's when we came across creators like Dashi and PewDiePie at the time. And that's when we're like, oh, we can do that. That's something that we can do. I love making people smile. I love building a brand. I love, making a community. It's something that I've been doing in a lot of different intersections of my life. And that's when we started the gaming channel. And then after that, Mortal Kombat came out and people loved my reactions to the different finishers in Mortal Kombat. And they're like, hey, you should react to this and you should react to that. And that kind of started the reaction channel, which has kind of become my main channel, AyChristene, which is the one you're talking about.
Absolutely. And I'm just so amazed at the amount of content that you're able to, and many people have asked me before, they want to hear an interview with someone who has just a reacts channel, because that whole realm of YouTube is a different space for me. I've worked with a couple of them as far as coaching, but you have to kind of look at YouTube differently. You have to be very relevant. Yeah. You've got to be on top of the news, especially in the space that you're in. And so talk about kind of the growth of the channel. When you started that gaming channel and then you launched this channel, the main channel that we're talking about now, when did you know that it might be something serious, that you can take this to the next level?
From the very early reactions, to be honest, because it was like the try not to laughs and the fact that they kept like they were garnering a lot of views, excuse me, but also they were garnering a lot of comments for recommendations of more things that people wanted to see. And that's where it clicked for me, that mindset of, hey, this is just like when you see something funny and you share it with your friends, right? And you're there with them and you want to see, do they like it like you do, or do they hate it? Like you want to garner their reaction to something you've already seen and you've already appreciated. So when I saw that and it clicked for me, the try not to laughs back in the day, when Vine was a thing and there were like the Vine compilations. Also Hamilton. So there's this genre of artists on YouTube that create animatics, which is kind of I guess another way to say is kind of like stop motion-ish drawings of, whatever it is that they want to have an animatic for. And there were a lot of animatics for the Broadway musical Hamilton at the time. And at the time, I didn't know anything about Hamilton and I was reacting to it. And that just really catapulted the channel as well, because a lot of people could come together about that musical.
And what does the process look like? Because we've all seen React videos before where you kind of have your face in the corner and then you have the video playing in the background. What would you say is the best way to do React content that you've found thus far?
I would say it's less about format and more about flexibility because the canvas of YouTube is ever changing. And you can have reactions to something that somebody else did and there's no flags or anything on their channel, but then you react to either that show or that movie or that YouTube content and you might get a copyright. So I would say being able to be flexible because you do have to take the video down and then, rearrange it, maybe, cut some things out and whatnot to where it's still enough content where somebody can actually see your reaction, which is the reason that people ask you to react to it, but also not infringe too much on the copyright side of things.
I have to ask too, a follow up to that. Because you're reacting to a lot of mainstream media as well, video games, TV
Yeah.
shows, things of that nature, not just kind of internet created stuff. With
Right.
that being the case, are you asking or requesting access to, how does that work from a React channel? What does the back end look like as far as how do you know how much you can show? What's the whole process?
So it's a mixture. I'll say that. I've had big platforms. I didn't get permission to say their name, so I won't say their name, but I've had big streaming services ask me to react to their stuff where they've said, hey, here's the screener, here's early access. We want to see your reaction. So I've had that, but then I also have had more so my audience requesting to see reactions to certain shows and things like that. And if it's something I have access to and enough of them have asked, then I'll react to it. And I do also have a Patreon where I can have the uncut reactions there because with YouTube, sometimes things get blocked no matter what you do. You can literally not have the video at all. You can have no sound, but that studio is like, that episode's got to go down. So, you do have to you know, kind of play with the punches and kind of roll with everything.
Yeah, because I would imagine trying to monetize one of those videos could end up being a nightmare when you're working with certain companies or brands to try to get the react if they're not giving you permission ahead of time.
Right. And that does happen. And it's funny because it's not a one way across the board. You have some like Marvel shows, I'll say that. Some Marvel shows where they're like, please react to our content. We want you to showcase this. And then you have some that are like, don't you dare post anything about what we're doing. So it is a mixed bag and the journey is learning, which production companies are cool with it, which are not, and kind of navigating through those waters.
You would think that, in the streamer landscape that we live in now, I mean,
hmm
streamers are making a living of clipping their reactions from their streams
hmm
to each other. They'll
Yeah.
be watching other streams and it's kind of like a reaction apocalypse. It's just like you're reacting to a reaction, which I think that's a little much. I love React content, by the way, for certain things,
hmm
but I think that they do take it a bit too far. Now, as far as monetizing reaction content, React
hmm
content, what would you say is the best way of going about doing it? What have you found to work the best?
What I have found to work the best for me has been a Patreon would be one thing, having some type of place where the audience that wants that content will come and be able to find that content essentially. So having a Patreon or some type of membership type of structure, because I know there's a few other things out there as well. I would say also for me, what I found is mixing the content. So some channels, they can just do shows, right? And they're good at they're able to get the views that they want. They're able to navigate those waters well and keep their business afloat like that. It's all about finding the balance between your audience and you and what
Hmm.
you were looking for out of your channel and what your audience is looking for out of your channel. So since I started with a lot of YouTube reactions, I can't necessarily completely just turn to shows and movies because I still have a starving audience for, hey, this storytime animator has just dropped a storytime animation. Can you react to it? And even, it's really cool as well on that side to meet some of the storytime animators that I've reacted to, and them tell me how after they post a video, they're looking for my reaction to see what I thought, because it's like a very vocal, visual of what the community might feel. So it's really cool.
Do you fake any of the reactions? And I'm asking that honestly, and maybe I don't mean that towards you, but I've seen a lot of react channels where I've like my daughter watches some stuff and she's 11,
Mhm.
and I know they're putting on, right? So
Mhm.
how much of it are you having to kind of amp yourself up, knowing what your audience wants, and then balancing that with giving real authentic reactions?
Say it's not that I fake any of my reactions. I do try to find the balance of being honest in how I feel, but not like, especially some YouTube created content may not strike me the way that it struck the person who requested it, right? They may have loved it and I probably don't feel exactly the same. So I do provide my point of view, but I really try not to or, discredit a creator. If I'm confused, I'm
Absolutely.
going to say I'm confused. If I'm like, hey, you know what? I think this could have been a little bit better, like critiquing, I'll definitely critique. But I definitely try to balance that, because I never want to bash another creator, especially on the platform. We all work hard to do what we're trying to do. So I never want to be in that realm. When it comes to TV and movies, I think it's a little easier because although it's like a huge, organization behind a lot of films, right? So I feel less touchy about saying, okay, yeah, I didn't like that. I feel like it's less of a insulting situation, but I still am respectful. I'm still very respectful to the production. Maybe not some characters. Some characters, I'll be honest and say that person was stupid. They need to die in this horror film.
Right.
But for the most part, I'm respectful to the production.
So let me ask you this. What has
Mhm.
changed in YouTube over the past 7, 8, 9 years that you've been on the platform as far as like what's working and what's not?
Everything's changed. Everything's changed. I think that because when we started in 2015, and that was either just before Google got it or like right when Google got it. So I would have to say everything changes to the UI, the dashboard. There was a moment in time where I was streaming like, I don't know, 5 times out of a week, every week on my gaming channel. And then I had stopped for most of this year so I can focus because, my daughter does schooling from home. So, and she's in first grade. So I'm very active in that. I'm a wife, I'm a mother, I'm doing a lot of things. So I had to kind of pause on streaming for a little bit, but then I started back up again. And the dashboard, I'm like, whoa, they changed everything. Like, where's this thing that in just a few months, like the last continuous stream I had was December. And now I'm looking and I'm like, okay, where do I find everything that I used to have as a certain setup for my stream? So I would say the algorithm constantly changes repeatedly. I remember back when things like your title and your tags really, like, they were the most important thing and really drove SEO and viewership to your channel and your videos. I do remember there was a time where even YouTube would tell you to gauge if a video is good is to search that like topic of the video and see where your video lands in the list. And then if you see it's lower, play around with the title, play around with the tags and see if you go up in the search list. Now, they've taken a lot of power away from tags. They've taken a lot of power away from your titles. And yes, SEO is still important, but not as important as the essence of how the audience might feel from your content. That's
I was gonna
kind of more so
I
where
was
they're
gonna ask
focused.
you a follow-up to that. What do you think
Mhm.
matters now as far as packaging, titles, thumbnails? Like if you were to tell a new creator right now or someone who is listening to this conversation with you and thinking, "Man, I wish I had the audience or the reach that Christene has." What is working? How would you, if you started a new channel today, how would you package things?
Thumbnails are extremely important, especially if you're new, because it's not like you have an audience that's already familiar with you, right? One of the things with thumbnails is you don't want it to be too busy, but you want it to hit enough where it can be intriguing. I would also play with thumbnails on your desktop, but also take a look at what it looks like in mobile, because since it's a lot smaller, things are a little arranged differently. Titles matter, but not as much as your thumbnail. I would say that your thumbnail is the most important thing with starting. Well, actually, the most important thing is to just start. That's the most important thing, and have some content out there. But second would be definitely your thumbnail to bring eyes in.
I interrupt this interview just for a few seconds to tell you about our offerings. We offer one-on-one coaching that's personal with me, where I sit down with you and you can ask me questions. I do a deep dive on your channel. I also offer just a smaller channel review. And then we also offer a great mastermind group that you can pay a few dollars to get into. We do monthly mastermind calls. We're going to start doing calls hosted by other members of the group. And it's just a great place to kind of rub elbows with other creators. So if that's interesting, definitely check that out. But everything that we offer and have to provide to you is down below in the show notes. Thank you guys for listening. Now back to the show. So what would you say thumbnail? Let's just deep dive into that for a minute. What have you learned about thumbnails recently that you might be implementing on your channel, and what has changed, and what kind of works in the current state of YouTube?
So it varies from my channel. So when it comes to like the vlog channel, having just me and like a background of clothes and a title, that video, really great. And the gaming channel, you need to have a clear enough screenshot of the game where it's interesting enough to bring somebody in, especially if it's not a popular game. You want to bring somebody in, you want to intrigue them, you're advertising. You're like, hey, come to my store, come see what I've got, see my wares. So thinking about a great screenshot for the game that you have, but also including the logo and including your face. If you are a face forward creator, if your face isn't out there, then, you know, that's different. But if you're a face forward creator, have your face on the thumbnail. For the reaction side, it's that one. I will say it is less about the thumbnail and heavily more so on the topic or the video or the episode or the movie that I'm reacting to. So just having at least the word reaction on there. Sometimes we have that. A lot of times it's my face and like a reaction. So that way it kind of tells the audience to some degree how I may have felt about whatever it was that I reacted to. And then a clear screenshot moment from that, hopefully, or I would say more than likely you would want a big moment, but you also don't want to be too spoilery, especially if it's new, if it's a newly dropped show or movie or anything like that. So kind of striking that balance between great moment in the show, great reaction, and then the word react at the top.
And I would assume that it's important to be relevant as far as like if a new movie's coming out or a new show, let's just say Stranger Things back when it was still airing or whatever, and the new season was coming out. Wouldn't it be important to be first to market? I mean, for a React channel, right? The quicker you can get out there with it, wouldn't you say that that's better?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
But it all does. So let me rewind a little bit. It does depend on what is your reaction base? Like, right, what is your niche? There are some people that only react to Doctor Who, and that's their audience. You have some people that react to adult live action shows. That's their audience. My audience is way more animation. So your TV shows you watched when you were a kid, you want to see now that you're an adult, is there another adult that may have had the feelings or sentiment? You know, it's like that nostalgia. I live in the nostalgia realm for sure, where I'm seeing a lot of shows that I didn't see when I was a kid or I was an adult when it came out. And then these kids are now adults and they want to see my reaction to this stuff. So that's the realm I'm in. But one of the things I've noticed when it comes to new shows, sometimes it like, if you have a review for it, that will do better coming out right before or right when the thing airs versus the actual show, because a lot of people may not have been able to watch it before you. So they're probably not going to wait. They're not going to watch your reaction right off. They're going to go watch the show first, you know, especially with Stranger Things. It was like a huge TV moment. So like when I did Squid Games, that did better after like the hype died down because enough people had time to watch it first and then come see my reaction.
Got it. That actually makes a lot of sense now that you've kind of said that. As far as monetization and how you make money from your creator business, because you do have a lot of irons in the fire. You have the gaming channel, the React channel, another vlog channel, and then you also are now helping creators. But from the YouTube channels themselves, what are the ways that you're making money, and tell us kind of what that might look like?
A lot of different ways. One is AdSense from, from YouTube. And then also like stuff from social media, like from TikTok and from Instagram. Sometimes they'll have like different challenges and campaigns. So that also pours into the bucket, I guess you can say. Brand deals are another thing. I would have to say one of my biggest financial contributors, I guess we'll say that contributors to my career has been my relationship with YouTube, because I've kept a very beautiful relationship with them and with a lot of people who work at YouTube. So when it comes to speaking events or workshops, I've hosted workshops, I've done speaking events and things like that. And a lot of those are paid. And, they've flown me to Switzerland to talk to their teams over there. They've flown me to California to talk to their teams over there. So that's definitely been another financial contributor, I
And
guess you can say.
what are the main topics that you're speaking on normally? Like, what's your bread and butter?
When it comes to YouTube staff, because sometimes YouTube will have me talk to their staff or they'll have me talk to other creators. So it'll vary. When it comes to staff, it's more so the creator point of view to their different products and their features on the platform, and how a creator may use or may not use some of the things that they've created or that they're putting out or that they're thinking about, because they really do care. I know they're a corporation, and every corporation has, hands in the fire, of course, but there is a huge portion of YouTube that actually does care about how creators use the platform, and especially features. They put time and money into having teams create features and create products. So they want to make sure that they get used. So that's mainly the focus when it comes to, talking to the staff. When it comes to talking to creators, it's kind of like this, where it's showing the kind of behind the scenes view of what it's like to do what I do, which is what a lot of creators are trying to do or working towards or in the realm as well. But they want that point of view, because a lot of times we're all on our own islands, as far as a creator. And unless you step off the island, you're not going to really know if other people are going through the same things that you're going through, are going through the same struggles or having the same problems or having to overcome the same disadvantages as you. So when you have these moments where you can be in a room with other creators, that community can be so helpful. So it's motivating conversations about motivating creators, conversations about monetization, especially when it comes to YouTube monetization products. So I was a part of a lot of their programming that they had for that. And even mental health, because I'm definitely very vocal about mental health and my ups and downs with it. And I've touched base with other creators about their ups and downs as well.
So you've created this thing, Empower Your Worth, the ultimate pricing guide for creators. One of the main questions I get here on the show and in coaching calls on our mastermind group is, how do I know what to price? How do I know? I was just on a coaching call this week where the person was talking about a brand deal they just landed, and they locked in a 2-minute ad for a very inexpensive. They're not getting much compensation for it, and they're
Mm.
regretting it after the conversation with me. They're regretting it even
Mm-hmm.
more.
Mm-hmm.
How are you educating creators on what their worth is? And can you just give a bird's eye view of, if there is a creator listening to this, maybe they're not there yet to start, but what should they be doing to prepare? Give us the full breakdown of kind of running brand deals and getting money that way on your channel.
Okay, yes. So with Empower Your Worth, it is a pricing guide to help creators basically answer that question. What do I charge for XYZ? And it's broken down by different deliverables and platforms. So the price you may have for a particular video on Instagram is not going to be the same price as it would be for a YouTube video, like a dedicated YouTube video. I break that down. I also include glossary terms like usage rights. That's a big thing that a lot of creators skip when it comes to brand deals and pricing themselves. That's something I had to learn, where I was just giving usage away for free all the time when it came to brand deals. And that's something that you have to price for. There are a lot of things when it comes to feeling confident in knowing what your number should be, and then navigating and negotiating that conversation with a brand. I know a lot of creators feel like they have to say yes to everything. and just take whatever's presented to them because they don't want to step on toes. They don't want to burn bridges. And that's another thing that the guide helps with. It helps you to feel more confident in what your number is. It's not rude to say, this is my price and this is what I charge for XYZ. It's not burning a bridge by doing that. What you don't want is basically what you were saying the other creator went through, that regret of, hey, I just said yes to what they offered because I didn't want to miss out on this deal. And then by the back end of it, you've got all this work that you've got to do and you have not been properly compensated for that work. And that kind of sucks.
What's a good rule of thumb? I mean, do we look at subscriber numbers? Because that can be misleading. There can be creators that have a low sub count, but have very engaged viewers that if it's a high ticket item that's being advertised, what's the rule of thumb for those listening as far as like brand deals? And what are you telling folks?
I would say look at your whole package, right? Because you can have creators that may not have a high subscriber rate, but they are killing it with views or they're killing it with engagement. Whatever your package is, if you're killing it with views and engagement, that is your bread and butter. And you will present with that strength and that confidence. My views are really good. Presenting your product to my audience, you are guaranteed X amount of views. So that's an X amount of people that will get eyes on your product. I would say be empowered in whatever part of your package that is your strongest. Really lean in with that. And also discuss with the brands and ask what their KPI is. What is their goal? Because for some brands, it's not even about selling products. It's about getting more eyes on their company, brand awareness, you know? So if you are ever feeling like, hey, I don't know if I have anything to really sell as far as a brand or as far as a creator, look at what your strengths are, talk to brands, find out what their KPI is or what's their goal, and navigate in, this is what I would charge for what you're asking.
Would you mind giving an example? You don't have to mention names, but give an example of a channel that you've worked with and kind of give their numbers and maybe talk about where you landed. Because I think people love numbers. They love kind of concrete answers to these questions. So can you do that?
I can. So I can say there was a company that asked if they could get access to content that I've actually already created. And they wanted to use it for, I think, 2 years or something like that. And it might have been lower than that. But it was kind of like a little bit of a dance with this brand because originally they wanted to offer $1,000 for access to, I think it was like 15 seconds, right, of some type of content that I had. And it might not have been a year, but it was like a certain amount of usage time that they wanted to. And I have a usage calculator that I go by where it's whatever my rate is for the deliverable that you're presenting to me as a brand, I will use 25% of that and multiply that per month. So whatever it is that we land on, multiply that by 25% a month, and then add it to the total. That is now the total, right? And for what they were asking for, $1,000 was pretty low. So I actually went, which is funny, I went to my Empower Your Worth guide and I literally looked at, okay, what is the amount that I've placed for what they want to use? And they wanted to put it on Instagram. And I looked at that, calculated the usage, and was able to change that deal from 1,000. I was like, listen, I am completely open to you guys using the content and using it on Instagram and having it for this usage. But for that amount, I charge 5,000. And I was able to negotiate that deal from 1,000 to $5,000. But if I had just taken that, I would have missed out on that other 4.
Would you say it's always a good advice to at least throw the ball back once? And what I mean by that is not just accept the initial offer. Like if they give you an offer, I feel like you're not going to, what I've found in my experience and my clients that I've worked with, we've never lost a deal because we've countered back. Does that make sense?
No, I understand. I completely agree. I would have to say, though, it does depend on the relationship, I would say. And then also, if you think that the amount that they're giving you is fair. Because not every brand is going to take care of you. Not every brand is going to offer you the fair thing. So if you're definitely being proposed something that's not fair, yes, counter back at least once. If they are presenting something that's fair, I would say that first time, like if they're giving you enough or more than enough and you're navigating, this is a first time relationship, go ahead. If that's a fair number, say yes, that is a fair number. And then I would also add on to this that make sure you rock that brand deal, and
Mhm.
not in the realm of like, make sure you get the most views or anything. No, be communicative with the brand. Be on time with when you're supposed to actually be early if you can, because even though you said yes that first time, you're going to show them, oh my goodness, this is a great content creator to work with. They're nice, they're professional, they get the work done. Because a lot of times the people that are presenting you with the deal is not the person that had the idea in the company. That's not the person that is funding the idea. A lot of the times the person you're talking to is the person that's been left with a mound of, hey, you need to find creators to do this type of work.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Man, that's really good. I didn't even think about that. It's really good. I want to ask you in this final question, Christene, the creators listening to this show, what is the one piece of advice that you'd want to leave them with right now in 2026, going into, the latter half of the year? What advice would you give them?
I would say don't overthink it. Okay. Don't let fear inhibit you from moving forward. Do it scared. There are times where I'm scared all the time where I'm like, I don't know if if this is going to resonate with my audience. I don't know if they're going to like it. You can learn along the way, so it does not have to be perfect the first time you put it out. Even if it doesn't get a lot of views the first time, a lot of times, especially if it's like TikTok or Instagram, you can post it again next week and it's okay. Like it's brand new. So don't ever let fear inhibit you from moving forward with your ideas and hashing out and experimenting. And keep moving, keep pushing. Life is hard for everybody, but keep moving. Don't let it stop you, because the thing you do not realize is how what you put out can impact somebody and inspire somebody despite how many views it has. You can have people like, man, I was having a rough day, but I watched your content and that made me feel a lot better? So that would definitely be my advice for sure.
Well, Christene, you have been a phenomenal guest. I'm going to link
Thank
to
you.
your calculator, your packaging stuff that you have on for brand deals for creators. I'm going to link to your 2 YouTube channels that you have and your other socials. So check that down
Thank
below.
you.
And don't forget, guys, to take a look at what we have to offer creators, whether it be coaching with me, whether it be our mastermind call, whether it be our YouTube channel audits. We offer so much. I love working with creators. It's one of my favorite things to do. So definitely go check
Mm,
that out if you haven't already. And Christene, we'll talk to you next time.
Thank you.